to Sleepover Cinema, where we analyze the movies, shows, and music that created the collective unconscious of those who discriminate against animal sidekicks with vaguely Eastern European accents. I'm Hannah Leach.
And I'm Audrey Leach, and I too carry the burden of that prejudice. And today, despite the fact that we do love ourselves and value our time on this earth, we are talking about one of many straight-to-home video Mattel masterpieces.
We're going to explore the good, the bad, and the nonsensical aspects of this extended video game cutscene to answer the question, what was the secret ingredient in these CGI Barbie movies that made us watch them again and again?
And at the end of the day, who can be held liable for that in a court of law? We will find out together as we discuss 2003's Barbie of Swan Lake.
Barbie of Swan Lake. Enter a world of love and enchantment. Now available on DVD and video cassette.
Hi.
Hi. Can you believe we're already doing a Barbie CGI film?
The last one of our childhood, though.
Yeah, I was saying to Josh that Princess and the Pauper is the last one we watched before we jumped ship from watching the CGI gems. Yeah, this is the last one that we have to do, unless someone like demands we do Fairytopia in like 2028, then maybe we'll end up there. But
Never saw it.
No, never saw it.
Actually, I might have seen it once.
All I know about that is that Julia had the really, really good Barbie collection from that movie, and I was jealous, and I would like awkwardly play with them when I was way too old for it, and basically like they would be playing with the dolls and I would just be like sitting there like watching. It was really odd, but I remember it very clearly because I was jealous. Like I think I was 10, like around 10, because Julia would have been 5, so that would have been more respectable than being 13, but I wouldn't put it past myself.
No, because as we've discussed, you had Barbies as a high schooler, so.
Oh yeah.
Well, they were in your room. You weren't playing.
Yes. Wait, okay. So we were tossing around the idea of doing a Tangled episode yesterday. Didn't we do it already?
No.
We really haven't done a Tangled episode?
I don't think so.
I think that we did.
Because how I can remember if we did an episode is if I can picture the thumbnail.
We did it.
We did?
We did it.
When?
We did it we did it a year ago, February 9th, 2023.
Oh.
Because I was just thinking like there's no way that I haven't talked about how I was weirdly into princesses for way too long.
Okay, but we've done like a million princess movies, so yeah. We actually haven't done Princess and the Frog. That is the truth.
Mentally, emotionally, physically prepared to dive back into the Barbie-verse today. The very, 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 very much preceding Barbie-verse to the one that we know today.
Are currently living in.
Yes. But before we get into the meat and potatoes of today's episode, if you will. We are back with another journey into a listener's diary.
Please enter your password.
Cupcake.
Okay, so this week's entry comes from our listener, Natalie, and she sent us like an unbelievable treasure trove of great entries, but we decided to just start off with this one. Dear Diary, and now this is picking up like halfway through an entry. People think he's gay. I don't really know why, but they do. He can't be gay. Not that I'm against gay people or anything. I just love Colin so much. He's so fucking hot. He's just kind of average though, and everyone else in our school is butt ugly. He's probably a 7 or a 6 or a 10 or a 7.5. God, I'm not gonna fruzz ? My theory, he is hot, all caps, 3 exclamation points. Dear Colin, please listen to me. You are perfect and I love you. So please ask me out. Please, 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 please. I love you. What if he dates Caitlin? She's much prettier than me. Basically, every girl likes him. Parentheses, if you say you don't, you're fucking lying. So why would he ever choose me? Whatever. Talk to you later. P.S. in all caps. Please ask me out, Colin, with 5 exclamation points. She sent in a voice memo giving some really crucial context on this entry, and this is what she had to say.
So this entry is from 8th grade, and I'm from a very small town where we don't have a lot of kids come in or out. So to have a new student and that new student be a cute boy who, looking back, actually looked like a piece of white bread, but that was huge, and pretty much every single girl immediately developed a crush on him, including myself. But then there became rumors that he was gay, which I honestly think were just started by like jealous boys who like didn't want girls to ask him out, because he currently has not come out as gay, and who knows, but it does not seem like he will be. He's like, a frat boy. But I, subscribed to these rumors, and I was very afraid that there was no way he was going to like me, when I really should have been worried that he wasn't going to like me because, I was starring in Seussical for the 3rd time.
I can relate to this a lot, and I'm sure, Audrey, you can too to a certain extent, but there's nothing quite like just like an all-consuming crush where you're like pretty sure the guy is gay anyway. Like it just is, a theater kid experience, and Natalie brought it to us.
Natalie has been in Seussical thrice, I think she said.
Yeah.
Like, you do deserve a Purple Heart for that. You actually do.
Yeah. It speaks volumes to your lived experience.
Your character and your trauma. I've been peripherally involved with probably also 3 productions of Seussical, so I feel your pain. I
have dodged the Seussical industrial complex somehow. I don't know how, but I did.
Wait, it actually is 3 now that I think about it. That's really funny. Yes, but I've never been in it. During COVID, I had to, along with Brett, who's been on the podcast before in the Pitch Perfect episode, we teamed up during COVID to create a video version, basically, of Seussical starring middle school kids. And we filmed it individually with each child in front of a green screen for like 2 days. And so just imagine like the youngest, smallest child who knows the least. Like imagine this was a normal production. This child still wouldn't know what was going on, but they were alone in front of a green screen and had almost no rehearsal. So it was
that is like the shit that
crazy.
People were doing in 2020, 2021 was like such innovation that we will likely never see again.
Yeah.
For better and for worse. Thank you, Natalie, for your contribution. The rest of your entries are also incredible, so we will get to all of them. But now that you've heard someone who is not me or Audrey have their journal read on the podcast, consider yourself invited to be so brave and to send us something funny or embarrassing or whatever. I think it's time for us to really get into Barbie of Swan Lake. Audrey told me this when we decided to do this episode. She was like, most of the people will probably be the same from Rapunzel. Honestly, you could just get a lot of your information from that one. And you were correct, I would say, for a good amount of it. There were some different players, but like, you know, all these people are working in the same content mill. So Barbie of Swan Lake was released on home video on September 30th, 2003. I would have just started 3rd grade. You would have just started 1st grade. And it was not rated for obvious reasons. So this movie was directed by Owen Hurley, who also directed Rapunzel and The Nutcracker. He's just like the go-to director for the Barbie things of this era. That's Owen. Now, all of the producers are the same. We have Jessica Durchin, Jennifer Twiner McCarran, Brett Gannon, and Rob Hudnut. Who could forget that last name? The screenplay is written by Cliff Ruby and Alana Lesser, same as last time. And then Ruth Handler is credited with characters and like vibes, essentially, and we know who she is. She was the creator of Barbie, and she's featured
now
in the Barbie
she's
movie.
just Rhea Perlman.
Yeah, just Rhea Perlman. But we can't skip over Tchaikovsky, who is the composer of Swan Lake and also The Nutcracker. It's kind of just like, you know, Russian dude making his music, super talented. But in my journey here, found out that he's gay, and this is what I found. Biographers have generally agreed that Tchaikovsky was homosexual. He sought the company of other men in his circle for extended periods, quote, associating openly and establishing professional connections with them. I love the idea that like networking is gay in this
Yeah, I'm like, what do you mean? Like, because by those standards, like, that's what men have historically done more than anything else. It's not like straight men have a track record of seeking, associating openly, and establishing professional connections with women. Like,
I know.
That was not a thing.
Man-to-man communications are inherently gay. So,
Like,
you know what?
What?
That actually reminds me that just earlier today I saw a video about Hans Christian Andersen being gay and The Little Mermaid being like a gay allegory. So lots of like tender gayness going on in this era. This man slayed.
Okay, so the music for this film was performed by the London Symphony Orchestra, and we have talked about them before in other Barbie orchestra movies, but they've also recorded soundtracks or orchestration for Star Wars, Jurassic Park, The Shape of Water, Pirates of the Caribbean, Harry Potter movies, everything, all the big things. Arnie Roth conducted, and he was also in the music department for Princess and the Pauper and many other Barbie movies, so we love him. And then finally, the choreography is by Peter Martins, and he apparently was Me Too'd. Do you know more about
Yeah, let me explain a little bit more about this man. So Peter Martins was like very high up at the New York City Ballet, and he was a dancer, and then he retired, and then he was in like a very high powered creative position. And in 2019 the allegations were alleged, and it took him down. So, well, he had like a relationship with one of the dancers, and then there were other people that were like, he brought me into his office and like showed me his junk. It was this came up in a review, not the fact that he got Me Too'd, but there was a another review later on where the guy was kind of like shit talking the choreography by Peter.
They were shit talking specifically Peter Martin's choreography in Barbie of Swan Lake.
Yes.
Wow.
Isn't that niche?
Yes.
And it was like in the New Yorker or something.
Like
what
leave it to ballet snobs to like roll up to Barbie of Swan Lake just so they can shit on Peter Martin's choreography.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yes.
But members of the New York City Ballet were the dancers who were motion captured in this movie.
Yes.
It's always very obvious because it's like, especially with the children characters in this one, I'm like, I just have a feeling that these are adults who are being motion captured and why do I sound like Kathy Griffin? They're being
That's such an obscure person to reference right now.
I just heard myself and I was like, I sound like Kathy
You're like,
Griffin.
is that Kathy Griffin?
My voice plus rasp is Kathy Griffin. Anyway, it just looks like they were shrunk down, like they were adults who were motion captured and then shrunk to be the children dancers.
Yes.
I don't, because of the way they're moving also, it's just not very childlike.
Yeah, I completely agree.
Okay, the IMDb synopsis. Barbie, should I do a Barbie voice? Barbie comes to life in her third animated movie, based on the beloved fairy tale and set to the brilliant music of Tchaikovsky.
That was great. I was not ready.
you.
I was not ready. You were like 5 minutes ago. You were like, I'm Kathy Griffin. Barbie.
Okay,
All right,
letterbox.
Keep it up.
Barbie as Odette. The young daughter of a baker follows a unicorn into the enchanted forest and is transformed into a swan by an evil wizard intent on defeating the fairy queen.
Yeah,
That's so hard.
the rhythm is so good. Is transformed into a swan by an evil wizard intent on defeating the fairy queen. We've just played the games enough. Okay, yeah, and then Rotten Tomatoes did not have a synopsis on file, which is interesting because I tried to look this movie up on Common Sense Media and it didn't exist, which is the first time that a movie has ever not been findable for me.
Well, I think that speaks to the fact that there's just no question. We don't need Common Sense Media for this movie. Your child is fine. You can handle it.
Well, but sometimes there's that take where it's like, will your daughter think she's not skinny enough after watching Barbie? Like that kind of thing.
Yeah. It just contributes to my theory of this is the least good one. It's just not great.
It's okay, we're going to say this, but it's your time here, Audrey, with this moment.
Taglines. The first one is, enter a world of love and enchantment.
Yes.
And the second one is, you're braver than you think.
I hate it. Which they really force that in as a motif in the movie, and I just hate that that's in there, but it's okay. For the cast here, so of course we have Kelly Sheridan, the voice of Barbie. She's in this. Then we have Kelsey Grammer as Rothbart. The random casting of relevant people in these movies is really funny to me. I always knew his name, but I didn't know why. He was in 202 episodes of Cheers and then 262 episodes of Frasier because he was Frasier in Cheers. It turns out Frasier is a spin-off of Cheers. I learned all of this today. I have not seen either show. Then we have Maggie Wheeler as Odile, which to me it's funny because Odile looks a lot like Maggie Wheeler. I feel like they did that on purpose. She was Janice in Friends, and she was also in Parent Trap, like the Lindsay Lohan Parent Trap. We have Mark Hildreth as Prince Daniel, aka Ken. He's like the recurring Ken voice. And then Chantal Strand as recurring Kelly. And at the beginning, she's sitting on the porch of this cabin being like, Barbie, I can't sleep. I can't play kickball tomorrow. She has no role really in this one.
Yeah.
And then very importantly, Maria Korowski was the dancer who was the model for Barbie in Nutcracker and Swan Lake and the 12 Dancing Princesses. She was a principal dancer at the New York City Ballet for over 25 years. And I think she retired in 2019. There is this really, really cute newspaper article about her that I sent Audrey where she's in her tutu leaning over and then the Nutcracker Barbie doll is at her feet. It's very adorable and she just gave really good vibes in this little interview. So thank you, Maria, for your contributions.
Budget unknown, obviously. Mattel doesn't tell us anything. Critic score not applicable because it didn't come out anywhere real. To find critic opinions.
Yes, to find critic opinions, I had to look at Wikipedia citations and then pull up the articles and then activate an alumni membership to this really specific newspaper archive. So shout out to the alumni of NYU Privileges. Would you like to play the role of
Yes.
Lynn Heffley of the LA Times.
The Barbie-centric fairy tale series continues with another lavishly detailed computer-animated feature whose creativity and sweet nature nearly mitigates its unavoidable product promotion. Starlit skies, an enchanted forest, a magic crystal, fancy gowns, graceful ballet sequences, Tchaikovsky's gorgeous themes, a terrific villain voiced by Kelsey Grammer, and a moment of selfless love all lead to a happily ever after ending for romantic Barbie Odette and her handsome prince.
That was an insanely long sentence. Upon finding that review, she mentioned that there was a quote-unquote well-made documentary with young Juilliard musicians. And so I looked it up, and it was really cute. And at the beginning, it's like this montage of girls talking about the music they like to listen to. And it's super, super broad and very adorable. And this is what they said.
When I play music, I feel it in my head and I feel it all around me. It's really about communication.
Oh, it's so hard to describe. It's like this orb inside you that's glowing warm.
I like to dance when I listen to music.
I like to listen to Mariah Carey.
Any type of rock music.
Classical.
Bob Marley, the Rolling Stones, and the Clash. When I listen to classical music in the morning, I really wake up.
So now on the opposite end of the spectrum, this was the guy that was shitting on the choreographer, but I cut that part out because it was unnecessary. But Audrey, would you read us the role of Robert Gottlieb of the New York Observer?
The divergences from the ballet are profoundly distorting. Nothing of the troubling heart of Swan Lake remains. Instead, we get a frisky feminist unicorn and an adorable skunk. To call this Disneyfication is to insult the genius of early Disney and the professionalism of later Disney. Why are you sucking up to Disney?
It was also interesting because this was actually pulled from this long diatribe he was writing about Christmas time entertainment, which is confusing because Swan Lake is not a Christmas movie. On Rotten Tomatoes, the audience score was 60%, and I only pulled one review because I found it to be especially funny. Chris M. gave the movie 3.5 stars and said, "A ton of ballet sequences stop the pacing dead in its tracks. If you like the story part, you're held hostage while this, quote, culture crap is going on. It doesn't totally ruin it. It has fun moments and is still watchable." There's 3 Letterboxd reviews, 3 stars, no musical number, shady face. Next one, no star rating. "Very cursed and boring, TBH. Way better in my memories." Cursed and boring, I do not disagree with. 2 stars. "If this movie was made nowadays, the unicorn would 1000% be voiced by Awkwafina." Agreed.
It's true.
And then lastly, because this really just made me laugh, a tweet from @NeedValentino. "Why did the bird in Barbie Swan Lake have eyebrows?" with screenshots of that bird with eyebrows. What do you remember about this movie? We owned it.
But I was never going to go for that one. I was only going to go for that one if I was I've seen all the other ones too recently.
Yeah. Same.
And that was pretty much the only reason. There's too many annoying ass elements in this movie.
The vibes are just weird. In the review where she talks about when that one reporter talks about it being highly detailed, I was like, did we watch the same movie? But
yeah, well, back then.
Yeah, I guess that's true. I remember being really into the little Kelly dolls. I liked that they all had their own little outfits.
I remember you not liking them.
I think that it was a situation where when you're a kid and there's a group of any characters, you want to be that one's me. I remember doing that with you, and I think we were the vaguely Latina skunk girl is you.
Yeah, I mean it had to be because I had brown hair. So
and we didn't.
You must have been that bitch on the drums.
I know. I wrote that down. I love her so much. I was really surprised by multiple characters when I was watching this, so I think I maybe must have watched it twice. Because, bitch, there are some weird characters in this.
No way you only watched it twice. I've seen it like at least 13 times.
13?
Probably. I don't know. More than 10, less than 20.
In that case, then maybe I just really wasn't paying attention because, like, when I saw Rothbart's face, I was like, that can't be real. Okay, I feel like we're just itching to get into the specifics, so we are going to take our little break. You can rent this movie with your hard-earned dollars for $4.
But we've talked about this also every time. There is a Barbie movie database that has them all for free. Hopefully it still exists.
So we'll meet you back here so shortly. Here we are again. Time to talk about a straight-to-home video Mattel animated Barbie picture.
I was struggling to pay attention.
I wrote down that this movie was impossible to pay attention to. I think one good thing we can say about this is that when it came to the characters that were not like any of the Kelly dolls or Barbie, they like made some really bold choices in character design.
Yeah, why does Odile look like she's at a Bushwick thrift store?
I know. I was like, I wrote down, they don't know how to make an ugly woman, so they just did like the weirdest warping of like a normal Barbie face.
Yeah.
I really was expecting her to be like a C-wordy version of Barbie, like the way that it
Vanessa
is in like
in The Little Mermaid.
Yes, and also in the Swan Princess, which is indisputably the much better adaptation of this story. The Swan Princess slaps. I love that movie. So when she was like this scary demon woman, I was kind of like, oh no, like they could have made like a hot evil person, but instead they made a Bushwick thrift store shopper.
I kind of loved it.
She looked like that and then had that laugh on top of it, and I was like, oh, there's no hope.
The voice is like, I need to KMS, but the look itself does not offend me. Odile and her father, Rothbart, have an extremely questionable relationship.
Oh, I know that look. You're thinking, aren't you, Daddy?
I'm getting that crystal if I have to rip the crown right off her head.
Crown?
I don't have one of those.
Get it for me, Daddy. I want one.
Soon enough, my little starling.
I agree.
Like, she's
also,
like, Daddy, I need to blah, 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 blah. And he's like, I will get it for you, darling. And then it's like
my starling.
It's like, what is going on here?
I know there are some major plot differences between the ballet and the Barbie movie, clearly. I think the two biggest things, well, there's a lot of random shit they added. Yeah, but like this crystal, I'm like, why? What does this crystal have to do with anything? Is it just so they can like sell a crystal, do you think?
What?
you know how there's the magical crystal?
Yeah, but I literally do not remember what happens with the crystal after the first time we saw it. Like when she just walks up to the tree and grabs the crystal and they're like, oh, she's special because she just picked it up.
Then it becomes this whole thing where Rothbart wants the crystal because you like can control the enchanted forest or whatever.
Okay, but here's my thing. Why does he want the freaking forest? He doesn't
It's
seem
never explained.
Like a particularly outdoorsy man. You know, he's annoyed by everyone in the forest. So why do
he doesn't seem to have a good time when he's in the forest.
No. Do you recall the relationship between Ethereal Fairy and Rothbart? Are they siblings?
Yes. They are siblings.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Which also makes me think, why is Ethereal Fairy like floating in a ghost-like manner? Why is she a fairy and her brother is like a hawk man?
Well, yeah. Well, I was kind of confused about like the origins of why. I get all the kids and stuff. It's giving Beauty and the Beast, low key.
Yeah.
I get that part, but like, why are they the way they are? The siblings,
like their states.
Yeah, like why Why are they
I'm
like
guessing that those maybe those parts are actually from the source text, because some of that shit is too weird to have been made up by them. Like, we haven't
Maybe
even
you
talked
should
about
look
the
it up.
troll yet.
Maybe we should look up like Swan Lake ballet cast.
Odette, the Swan Princess. Swan by day, maiden by night. Prince Siegfried, Odette's lover. He appears in all 4 acts. It says where they appear to, which is interesting. Von Rothbart, Odile. Wolfgang, the prince's tutor. Benno, the prince's friend. And Queen Mother, Siegfried's mother. So there's no fairy. The unicorn is made up, for sure.
The unicorn is a slightly reinvented dragon from Rapunzel.
I know. When I first heard her voice, I was like, is that Cree
It's the
Summer?
same
But
like literally,
it's not Cree Summer, surprisingly. I would say the weird thing about the unicorn is that the way it was played was like bizarrely grounded. Did you notice that?
Yeah. Yeah. Like, why is the unicorn the realest bitch in this place?
I know. But not even in like the sassy way, just in like the very straightforward way.
I mean, let's be honest. Without the unicorn, absolutely nothing is happening in this movie. Imagine being turned into a swan and then having to search through a library of books.
You know? With this troll, which is like so scary. I was not ready for how scary he is. Like, if I was a kid, he would have freaked me out. If I was a little kid.
They try to soften him up because his personality isn't actually scary.
Let me see. Does the troll even exist in this? No. So they made up a troll for this. Also, I'm really surprised that in the ballet, Odile actually is the daughter of Rothbart. They didn't make that up.
Why does that surprise you?
I don't know. I guess because I watched Swan Princess so much, and I'm pretty sure that in Swan Princess it's like an enchanted like animal or something. Like, it's very much not a real character.
Oh, she's just a twin, right?
She's a twin, but she has like a black dress on. Unsurprisingly, Odette dies in the ballet.
Yeah,
she dies of grief.
It's very Little Mermaid chords. Like, in the fairy tale, she becomes sea foam or whatever.
Yeah.
No, because in our world, we cannot have the women learning lessons. They cannot pay the price. They cannot pay the ultimate price for their mistakes.
They're too pretty to pay the price.
I must say, do you not think that if this movie was a musical, it could be just so improved? Like, you can keep the ballet. I think they could have just like added a song or two.
Yeah, I agree. I'm like, were the composers like on overtime and you didn't want to pay it? Like, what happened?
The other ballet Barbie movies aren't musicals, and Princess and the Pauper is not a ballet Barbie movie. This is like a specific
Nutcracker
genre.
Is so much more respectable. I think that part of it is that there aren't enough settings.
I mean, I could tell you, we don't need like more than honestly 2 musical numbers. Like, I think even just 2 would add a lot. And one of them can be the I Want song, because when at the very beginning there's this score that's like really nice and she's kind of dancing around the room, and I'm like so ready.
That's a Tchaikovsky song. I think you know that.
Yeah, it is, but it just lends itself to her.
I think
singing.
that's actually the problem. Is that if it's like music that's composed
you can't
by
add words,
you can't really go that crazy with it. It's like the same thing with Nutcracker. Also, they didn't have any musicals at that point yet because Princess and the Pauper hadn't come out yet.
Well, clearly they were also frustrated. They're like, yeah, it feels like these people should sing, but they don't. And so then they're like, let's make a musical. In the very beginning, if I were Kelly in this situation, I'd be like, why the hell are you telling me about some lady named Odette when I have anxiety about not wanting to play kickball? This is completely irrelevant. I'd be like, hey, can you stop?
That was a forced That was a forced one.
It's the most irrelevant intro by far because they all have these little framing devices like with Kelly, but this one feels the most out of place.
There's such an obviously good one too, which is that if she was like, I'm scared of the woods, she could be like, don't be scared of the woods. It's full of enchanted creatures, don't you know? And then just run off with it that way.
Scared to swim?
I was about to say, it's all because she's not as, she's braver than she thinks. And that's why.
What do you think of the romance in this one?
The romance is like awful.
Oh my God, the moment where he accidentally sees her transform back into a woman.
Yeah.
The facial expression he makes is of like a slight, he's slightly curious about this. There is nothing about it that like shocked him or he was not in awe in any way. He just was kind of like,
like, huh? That also reminds me that when he's like doing his bow and arrow gig and then she flies by and he's like gonna shoot her, but then it goes into like love lens, and I'm like, is the swan too hot for you to shoot? Like
that? Yes, that's what they're saying. Like the swan is too beautiful to shoot, and his Rothbart's plan was for him to just shoot her. Okay, do you see the similarities between this story and Beauty and the Beast and also The Wizard of Oz? There's a lot of similarities.
I hate to drag in such good movies.
It's The Wizard of Oz. Well, no, I'm saying it's just elements that are there because you've got the kids who need to be transformed back to their original state, and the only way they can do that is through this magical person, basically. And so they're hoping that things work out with this person so that they can get something for themselves. And that's also kind of true with The Wizard of Oz. It's like, we need this girl to help. She's special, basically. She's the one. And so we're going to go on this journey with her so that we can also win ourselves. Yeah. Barbie in this movie is the least defined Barbie in any movie, I think.
I agree. I think that she takes self-insert character to the next level. I honestly, I knew that this was like the worst one of what we had, but it's like a really harsh drop off. Like it's a very harsh drop off. I want to see what these dolls looked like because I am sure that they were beautiful.
Barbie of Swan Lake, enchanted forest, Odette the girl, enter a magic world. Swan princess by day, girl by night, mystic power, wings alight. Break the spell, your prince has come. True love transforms everyone. From her newest movie, Barbie of Swan Lake, dolls and unicorn carriage each sold separately.
Did we not have the Swan Lake one?
I don't think we did. I just don't remember this. I think you're thinking of the one Fairytopia doll that I had.
I don't think
we had
her.
That's a sleigh, though. I mean, I know that this, like, production still of her, if you will, is, like, probably not what she looked like in real life. But,
ooh.
I know.
Yeah, we didn't have her.
The Prince Daniel doll is really goofy looking. Let me send this to you.
I don't know if you ever do this, but like if I'm ever in Target, like I am gonna go in the Barbie section. Like I need to know what they're peddling to the children. And it's always like, nowadays it's like, what the hell?
So I like oddly know a lot about this now because ever since I became friends with Joey, a friend of the pod, I'm like way more aware of doll trends, and all of the fun shit now goes to like Monster High and like Rainbow High, like those, which like to us those were like kind of like, oh, like that's not Barbie, right? But like it's actually not. Like it's a lot better.
To me, it was knockoff Bratz at the time.
At the time, same. But like the fun stuff now is there.
I think I saw a tweet the other day that was like, they're bringing back my scene.
No, okay. If they are, they like need to do something else.
I'm pretty sure I did see that.
Oh God, yeah, you're right. This just goes back to the point, which is like, when will people just like do a new idea?
If it were up to an individual, it would be a whole lot easier to greenlight new ideas.
Do you think that's because people are like not sure about like if the future will exist? Not to be super dark, but do you think that's part of it? Is that it's like looking into the future? It's like, how about we don't like?
Well, I think basically what you're saying is like that there is an economic reward to investing in comfort right now.
Yeah.
And I do think that is true, especially in like 2020, 2021, 2022. I mean, hopefully we're like emerging from that as we proceed into the later 2020s. Like, but definitely there was like, and is economic reward to playing it safe. If we could just put a twist on something they already know, then they'll
like,
buy
we won't
it.
be that bored. Yeah.
I do think that Barbie's, what's it called? Barbie of Swan Lake or something.
Yes.
She's of Swan Lake.
I know. Isn't that weird?
I do think that the ballet is the least integrated into the movie than all the other Barbie movies that have ballet in them. I think I said that earlier, but like truly, the ballet, it just comes out of nowhere. There's no prompting for the ballet.
I'm pretty sure for one of the ballets, it's like someone mentions dancing, and then Ivan, the shitty little hedgehog, is like, I can dance.
Hate
Look
him.
at me dance. Yeah.
That was the moment when I wrote down, I wish I was high right now.
I know. Well, because when he's the hedgehog, his like adult voice is like annoying, but typical.
Like,
but then when he becomes a child with that voice, it's like how are we doing this? Also, the little girly
Ivan, you need some salsa flavor.
On the positive note, I want to end with this, which is that I think the vibes, like if there was like a Barbie of Swan Lake ambiance video where it's just like a loop
I would
of
watch
the forest, I would watch it. You know.
I did think that too. Like when she first walks into the enchanted forest, I was like, I would like to walk around there and I would like to be there. So
yeah,
they win for ambiance in that
like
sense.
The ambiance is good. The character design is really interesting.
Interesting, good or bad, but interesting.
Yes, it's not safe for the most part. Safe choices are not being made. And it really paved the way for something big, which was Princess and the Pauper right after.
Please go watch that episode. Listen to that episode.
Don't put this in, but spare yourself of this one and just go.
I know we didn't really come out with any great points on this one, and we knew that we wouldn't because I think everybody knows that. If you've seen the movie, you kind of know. But I hope you got a good giggle somewhere. I mean, the Barbie is fierce. Like, the Barbie version is fierce. So,
yes.
The product aspect of this whole thing, I'm sure it was profitable. I'm sure it did work out.
Oh, yeah. For what the end goal was, this is, like, overachieving. I think the biggest overachievement is Princess and the Pauper, obviously. Like, they actually cared about that movie. You know what? Their end game was met with this. And we all kind of had to pay a toll for that. But
that cover was promising, though. That cover, remember the VHS or DVD cover? It was.
I know.
It was really good. And I feel like that always kind of disappointed my child brain because they basically would put a picture of the doll or this sort of like altered version of the doll on the
she is the doll
cover, but then of course the animated version is closer to like a computer game rather than like the doll version, so that was always kind of
the
disappointing.
Doll herself.
But I did love the cover.
I do respect the unicorn, so thank you to Lila the unicorn for your contributions to the Barbieverse.
Thank you for driving the entire plot of this movie.
Someone needed to do it. It was a big job for one unicorn, and you did your best.
For more from us, we're on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, and YouTube at Sleepover Cinema, and post a full video version of each episode on YouTube every Thursday. You can follow me, Audrey, at Audrey A. Leach on everything.
And you can follow me, Hannah, at Real Judy Garland on Instagram. And if you have not joined our Discord server yet, the link is in our episode description, and you are cordially invited to join us.
You can check out our merch at twopinkproductions.com/shop.
And if you love the show, if you like the show, if you think the show is worth sharing, please indulge in that impulse. Send an episode to a friend and leave us a review on Apple Podcasts affirming us as women in media.
Sleepover Cinema is a production of Evergreen Podcasts, produced, edited, and engineered by us, Hannah and Audrey Leach. Sleepover Cinema is mixed by Sean Rule Hoffman with theme music by Josh Perlman Hall. Executive producer is Michael D'Aloia.